Good morning. Today we will talk about the great portrait painters of colonial America. At that time, in the 1500s, England colonized America at that time. So they had many colonies in Northern America at the time, and one of the greatest colonies was in Boston. And in Boston, art started in America. It started with their tombstones, by the way. In England, tombstones usually are decorated with skulls and crossbones. But in America, they changed it to skulls with wings. And later, they incorporated their style in their pots and other furniture. And at the time also, portrait painting was really popular because many people soon realized that portrait painting was a symbol of power and wealth. So many had their portraits painted at that time. The earliest dated portrait painting in America was by Elizabeth Eglinton, which was dated 1664. She had lots of portrait paintings, but unfortunately, many of her paintings were probably destroyed or damaged. So only one survived intact. And the second portrait painter of America was Winthrop Chandler. It was in Winthrop Chandler that portrait painting started to change. Usually, in England or in other parts of Europe, they used swirls and curves for paintings. But for Winthrop Chandler, he changed it to squares or rectangles. So, if you see his paintings, usually you can see the faces are squarish, and there are so many books and tables. So, there are so many squares in his paintings. The third most popular painter at that time was Henrietta Johnston. During the 1500s, 1600s, and 1700s, oil painting was really popular. But for Henrietta Johnston, she was a pastelist. That means she uses pastels to paint her portrait paintings. Usually she drew portraits of the Huguenots from France. Oh, by the way, Huguenots are part of the Protestant Church of France at that time. But since the King of France in the 1700s and 1600s didn't like Huguenots and started persecuting them, they fled France at that time to other parts of Europe and to America, wherein Henrietta Johnston painted them. And she had lots of portrait paintings of the Huguenots who came to America. Now, for another most popular portrait painter of colonial America was John Smibert. John Smibert was one of the most popular because of his incorporation of Sir Godfrey Kneller's paintings with Baroque style painting and mixed them together to make portrait paintings in America. Oh, by the way, Baroque painting usually uses curves and swirls at that, and usually is very popular because of what they call tenderism. It means the difference between the light and dark colors, and also the light and dark shades of the shadows, which makes the paintings more realistic. So John Smibert was really popular also because of this kind of style. And the greatest portrait painter, which was said to be one of the greatest at that, was John Copley. John Copley was one of the best portrait painters that even the court painters, portrait painters of England were really very happy to see his paintings and even recognized his works as one of the best at that. So the court painters of England told him to go back to England and study more before the American paintings or style corrupts his style. So John Copley went back to England. And that's the overview for the great portrait painters of colonial America.